So one common question I noticed some people have already after watching the movie and giving their thoughts on what they liked and didn't like. One question that a lot of some so far, not a lot, but some fans have had is, was the movie supposed to be a lot longer than just 90 minutes? The reason they asked this question is because of the fact that there were some things they pointed out that they felt probably could have used a lot more explanation. In other words, more time to be explored and delved into, but they weren't. And they had also acknowledged that there were some scenes that felt like they were just, rushed. Like it was supposed to be a little longer in extension for that scene, but instead it was just like, here's this, done. For a good example, I will say this, a good example is, and a bit of spoilers, is after everything is restored, Zip points up at the sky, at the Aurora Borealis lights that are a result of magic being restored. And it looks like she's pointing at something, but, we don't know what it is. We don't see exactly what it is. All we see is the lights, across the sky. And then the next thing we see is Bridal Woods, and all the magic being restored to the unicorns there. But the reason I bring that up is because it did feel like, I will admit, it did feel like there was supposed to be something more there than what we got. But I can't really say. Maybe it was meant to be that way. We don't know. But, this is a good question that a lot of fans have when it comes to not just New Generation, but to any movie. Because they feel like some things were, meant to be a little longer, were meant to have more focus, meant to have more explanation, but because of time restraints, they couldn't get it. Now, I'm not going to say that the movie wasn't meant to be a little longer. I'm not going to say that because I believe, honestly, had Hasbro originally, kept the movie as a theatrical release through Paramount as the distributor, that the movie probably would have been a little longer. Basically having the movie in theaters would have given more freedom to the runtime, I should say, for the movie to, get what it needed in for the people to enjoy. In other words, it would have been given time to be able to explore more about what happened, what caused the dissension between the pony races, how these crystals that represented the pony races came to be, and stuff like that. It probably would have been given more time had Hasbro kept the theatrical release with Paramount as distributor here in North America. But because of the fact that COVID basically caused a lot of things to shut down, slow down, be altered, Hasbro's like, look, we don't want to take the chance not knowing how long this is going to last. We still want to get it out on this, release date. So here's what we're going to do. And that's why they went to Netflix. Now, maybe part of that deal is that Netflix has a certain requirement when it comes to runtime for their movies, especially the animated ones. And Hasbro, along with Boulder Media, is like, okay, fine, we'll probably have to cut some things down, or edit some things down, or cut some scenes out that we originally had planned for the theatrical release, just to, meet the quota for the runtime to be streamed on Netflix. And, if that happened, that happened. Hopefully, maybe if, there is any, indication to that, if there is any, kind of indication that, hopefully, maybe to make up for that, Hasbro through Shout Factory will release the movie. And they'll release, not just what we see on Netflix, but maybe an extended version with more emphasis on certain scenes and all that. When it comes to finding out about the dissension, what caused the dissension on the pony races, how the crystals came to be, stuff like that. So, maybe that might happen to make up for the fact that the original plans for release were disrupted because of COVID. I mean, that's the only explanation I get out of this, that could explain, maybe I should say, why some people feel that the movie may originally have been planned to be a bit longer than what we got, and that is because it was originally meant to be longer if it stayed and remained a theatrical release and not ported over to streaming here in North America and in some other countries. So, hopefully, so if that is the case, if there is truth to that, like I said, hopefully Shout Factory, when they release the movie onto Blu-ray, 4K, and DVD, and even, digital streaming, through Vudu and Movies Anywhere and all that, hopefully they'll give us, not just a release of what we got, on Netflix, but they'll also give us an extended release of, of what the original film was supposed to be like, like with the original runtime and stuff. Because sometimes when a studio does that, you'll usually get, with the extended version, an additional maybe 10 to 20 minutes worth of footage to help, really expand and really, give emphasis to what, the story, is about, how things came to be, stuff like that. So if that is, so if there is any truth to what some people are suspecting that, the movie, was basically supposed to be originally longer than what we got on Netflix. And my theory is perhaps it was because, that was probably the original plan for the original theatrical release. If there is any truth, then I can definitely hope that Hasbro and Shout Factory come up with a solution of giving us two separate releases. One being the regular release and one being an extended version of the movie. So we'll see what happens. But if we don't get any kind of maybe extended version release of the movie on Blu-ray, 4K, and DVD, and we just get what we got on Netflix, then that's probably what they originally had planned in the first place. But we'll see. We shall see. I mean, I agree. I'm not denying that there isn't some, moments in there where it felt like, things were shortened, cut out, you weren't given enough time to be looked into. I will admit there are some moments. But overall, we'll have to see. We'll have to see whether or not this gets addressed, whether or not there is truth to it. And if there is truth to it, like I said, hopefully Hasbro makes up for that along with Shout Factory by giving us two separate individual releases, on physical media as well as on digital purchase streaming. And that's the version we got on Netflix, or we'll see it on Netflix, and an extended version with some additional time and maybe its scenes added back in from what it was originally supposed to be, looked at and seen as in theaters. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Do you think New Generation was supposed to be longer in its runtime, or do you think we got exactly what was planned? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. Live chat during the premiere. Like the video, check out my Teespring store, as well as check me out at patreon.com at BW Roses, as well as at BW Roses Discussion, all your favorite audio podcast locations, except for Pandora. Also check me out at BW Roses on Vimeo. So till next time, guys, I will talk to y'all later.